Breaker Crunchers! It's Saturday night in Phoenix, Arizona. I am your host tonight, Lance, the series sergeant. Yeah, I'm going to bring that back since we're talking about a TV show. You are watching Couch Crunchers, and with me is Max, Sam, and Tyler. Say hi, guys.
What's up?
Hello. Hi, guys.
Now, I think it's been a couple weeks since I've been on the show, so I might be out of practice.
Well, it's certainly out of focus.
Yeah, that's my mic. So, rule of thumb, just because it's the most... Or not my mic, my camera. Sorry. Rule of thumb, camera. Rule of thumb, just because it's the most expensive one on Best Buy doesn't mean that it'll work. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at TVs this Black Friday. Just because it's the most expensive one doesn't mean it's the best.
That's very true.
That's a good tip.
There's a lot of overpriced TVs out there just because of the brand.
Yeah, so I'm coming in out of focus live in VHF.
VHF?
Or UHF. VHS or UHF.
Lance is having a tough time tonight.
Guys, dude, I've been just writing papers today and haven't really gotten up from my computer desk here, and it's been a long Saturday. How are you guys doing?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good.
I have been so lonely. So lonely because Tyler hasn't been to dodgeball in a couple weeks.
It was 1 week, man.
It's so lonely. We had one guy break his finger. He hasn't been back for 3 weeks. He's still got 3 more weeks to go. And then Tyler gets in on the disabled list because he had to have some kind of surgery on his leg. And it's so lonely.
So is Corbin playing?
Lonely. Corbin? Who's Corbin?
Is that a joke because he hasn't been in a while, or what?
Yes, I mean that is a joke because he hasn't been in a while. Yeah.
I was like, did I fall into like an alternate dimension where we don't?
I know. I was
Corbin
confused for a second too. I'm like, it's Corbin. He's a friend of the show. He's been on here multiple.
It's a pretty unique name.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! Why did that come up? That's weird. Yeah. So he hasn't been in a couple weeks, huh?
Yeah, he's totally moved on. I guess he's got his new girlfriend that he's courting. And
what? Oh, I didn't know he had a girlfriend. Good for him.
Well, he said he did a couple weeks ago. I don't know how it's still going.
Guys, can't
get the guy to show up to dodgeball to talk about it.
That's going to be the topic of our show next week is Corbin's new girlfriend. So we're going to dedicate an hour and a half.
Well, you should actually have Corbin come on to talk about it. The rest of us don't know jack squat about it. You guys found out.
It might ruin his relationship. I don't know if we should do this.
It might be more fun that we don't know jack squat about it.
We're just going to make hypotheses. Yeah. Guys, I hear she has a tooth coming out of her forehead.
Oh, man. This is probably the exact reason he wouldn't want us to talk about it.
No, that's awesome. Did they meet at cosplay speed dating?
I think he said that they did meet in some kind of comic book store. I'm not sure which one, but I'm pretty sure it's a comic book romance.
That's cool. If it works out for him, that'll be like the unicorn of dating. Finding a girl that's like into comic books and stuff. That's pretty rare.
Yep. I settled for a wife that's into nothing that I like.
My wife and I have Harry Potter in common. That's like our main thing.
My wife and I, we watch movies together, and most of the time I like them and she doesn't, or vice versa. That's how it works. So, but we love going to the movies together. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Fantastic, but yeah, I have a lot of hobbies that she hates.
Yep, I am with you there. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, so tonight, as you guys know, there's not a whole lot of stuff that's being released. So all my notifications are going off at the same time, so I'll put these on silent. Guys, my first night podcasting. Can you tell? No, I'm just kidding. So tonight, as you know, there's not a whole lot of stuff coming out. We did get some stuff down the wire that we'll talk about after our main topic of the night.
Yeah, there's some cool news to talk about.
Yeah. So But before we get into that news, tonight we're going to be talking about the latest episode of Mandalorian, which I just saw about 2 hours ago. And before we get into that, I'd like to know, is there anything you guys are watching? So this time...
Me first.
Oh, geez. At least let me finish.
No way.
That's what she said.
So this time has
That was a good one.
Oh my gosh. So this time with COVID and everything going on, oh my gosh, dude.
I made it good funny, okay?
Office. Yeah, you did good. So this time with COVID and everything that's going on, I mean, yeah, there's some new shows trickling in, but a lot of us have gotten the opportunity to rewatch some old shows that we all love. So I'd like to know, is there a new show that you're watching, Sam? Is there something old that you've experiencing for the first time? Like what do you got? Because you're super excited and I'm interested.
It's
going to be Triple D Dodgeball.
No, it's not dodgeball. It's not. I mean, it may someday be dodgeball related, but it's not dodgeball related yet. It's a new show on Netflix, produced and narrated by Rainn Wilson, called "We Are the Champions."
What?
And
a documentary?
Yeah, documentary, but it was super fun. It was really short. It's only 6 episodes. They feature sports that you might see on ESPN 8, The Ocho, right next to like a dodgeball. So the first episode was the cheese rolling in England, where they take a double Gloucester cheese and they roll it down the hill, and then it's a wave of people chase the cheese down the hill. They also had yo-yo. They had dog dancing. They had hair, like fantasy hairstylists. Yeah, they had all kinds of. They had 6 different really weird sports, or competitions, I should say. That's probably better.
I was gonna say, I think the cheese wheel one is the only one that constitutes as active.
But it was really fun. It was really nerdy. It was kind of the thing that I think a lot of people who listen to the show would really get into.
Straight out of the OSQ, huh?
The OSQ.
Yeah, what the heck is that?
The obscure sports quarterly, like the magazine that what's his face always has in dodgeball.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome, dude. So is it kind of like the Jeff Goldblum type show? Like, is he going around talking to these people, or is he just narrating?
He just narrates. So they usually do a couple of profiles or competitor profiles, and they follow them through as they prepare for competition, or they give a history on the competition, and then they actually show the competition and who wins. And the cheese rolling one, I've actually seen a lot of documentaries about the cheese rolling one. Now, cheese rolling, if you're not familiar, is a very dangerous activity and usually results in broken collarbones and broken legs, concussions, and
okay, I've never heard of cheese rolling. Tyler and Lance, have you ever heard of this?
No, but
No.
nothing spells fun like broken collarbones and broken legs. So
I mean, unless people are putting it in my pizza crust.
There you go, cheese rolls, absolutely.
So
and food.
There's this. It's got to be at least 100-year-old tradition, but they every year when the new cheeses are broken out and they're finally aged to perfection, they get them out, they wrap them up, and they roll them down this place called Cooper's Hill in England, and there's just a whole bunch of people who show up to chase the cheese down the hill. And
hey, that's cool.
They've been doing it for a long time, and if you're the first one down the hill, you get the cheese. And it's a trophy you can eat, and it's a double Gloucester, which my sister Sarah, she's watching the show, she says you haven't lived until you've chased a cheese.
I could chase cheese. This sounds like a great activity.
Well,
Sounds like
it's
a
very
sport that could
dangerous
get me working out.
So the gal that they were kind of profiling, she broke her collarbone and she thought it was just dislocated, but it was definitely broken. And so now it's just kind of protrudes out of her shoulder and it'll never go back. And then during the actual filming, when she did the cheese roll, she broke her ankle too, running down the hill. So she finished the episode in a cast on her ankle. But it was really fun, really kind of quirky sports. But it's the kind of thing that I think scratches a lot of people's itch right now, especially if you're the type of person who might show up for Triple D Dodgeball. So, yeah, we are the champions. It's on Netflix.
Do we need to start charging Triple D Dodgeball advertising space?
I've told you to bring your banner, to bring the Couch Crunchers banner so we can have that posted.
Yeah, we need to get that out to you. That'd be awesome.
I think that'd be really fun. I don't know if it would like drive a lot of traffic, but it's just a fun idea to have the banner in the background there.
Stop people saying nice wall on the comments.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's just like the camera just looks at a wall right now instead of like a banner or anything.
You should have somebody just sitting like in a little table, just reading a newspaper, drinking a cup of coffee, just sitting there.
Well, we had Tyler's wife was there, and she was munching on apples one night. That turned out to be quite distracting from the actual game. So we decided we're gonna try and keep the munching to a minimum.
My pregnant wife has nothing to do, so she just sits there watching through this tiny window, like eating apples.
That's pretty funny, though.
She was right next to the mic.
It's in the racquetball court, so you can't really have like spectators, huh?
We don't have a lot of spectators. I mean, there are some racquetball courts where they have plexiglass walls. I feel like that would result in a different kind of bounce than what we're used to with the cement walls.
Yeah.
But maybe not. I don't know. The only plexiglass racquetball courts I'm aware of are at private gyms, though, and these are public, free to use. So
are the racquetball courts smaller than like a traditional racquetball court? Because I was like looking into racquetball courts earlier today, and I thought they were a lot bigger than what the video's been showing.
So our court is.
Have you never been to Gilbert High racquetball courts?
I have not. No.
Oh, they're huge. Their video doesn't do them justice.
Okay, because like racquetball courts are supposed to be like 40 feet long by like
20 feet wide. Yeah, that's how big it is.
Okay, it's probably just the camera angle then.
Yeah, probably.
Well, plus when you got 5, people on each side. Yeah.
Well, now that it's exclusively men, but
yeah, those racquetball courts. I mean, I went to school at Gilbert High. I think I was probably there at the racquetball courts for some activity, like once a month, twice a month, maybe.
Oh, really? I didn't know you went to Gilbert High.
Yep, graduated in 2003.
Oh my gosh, you're so old.
Come on now.
Man, I'm turning 38 in 2 weeks, so I guess that makes me super old.
Yeah.
I turned 36 in March. You're not much older than me. So, Tyler, what have you been watching? So I'm gonna check out what Sam's been talking about too. With that
sounds really interesting.
We Are the Champions. Yeah. That's what it's called. We Are the Champions
on Netflix. Tyler, what about you, buddy?
So I'm only 2 episodes in, but I've been watching a show called Truth Seekers on Amazon.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's the team of
Nick Frost,
the same
Simon
guys.
Pegg.
Yeah, Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, and their whole goofy troupe.
Yep. It's pretty funny so far. But I don't know. It's kind of just mediocre, I guess.
Oh, really?
But it's okay. Like, it's entertaining. Like, but it's not like
it's very much Brit comedy. So if you're not into Brit comedy as much, it might fall flat. But it's also not like, I liked it just because I love Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, but it's not the best thing they've ever come out with. So just be warned.
Yeah, it's entertaining enough, with me trying to find something to watch. There's not really too much new things to watch, so it's keeping me by right now.
Well, you have Peacock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just go next but I've been watching on Peacock, Tyler. If you're looking for something to watch, this show called Mr. Mercedes on Peacock. And it is
Yeah, you've
awesome.
been telling me about that. Lance is obsessed with this right now. It's
based off a book from Stephen King, and it's about this murder. This guy drives a car through a whole group of people, and they can't find out who he is, and he's like this evil genius and stuff. And I don't want to give too much away because every single episode is like pivotal. Like if I give you too much, it'll spoil it for you. But the first 2 seasons are on Peacock, and the 3rd season you're gonna have to find your own methods to get the 3rd season. But
is this also like a what is it? British show?
It's set in
BBC.
Yeah, it's was made in the US. It's an AT&T show. I don't know where it was released originally because the 3rd season came out last year, and that's not on Peacock. So I don't know where they're showing it. The lead actor is Irish, but everybody else is American in the show. So there's no subtitles or anything, but the lead actor is Irish and everybody else is American.
Yeah, I've never heard of this show, and it's already got 3 seasons. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and the other one, and I think it was Sam that turned me on to this show, maybe, was Yellowstone. That's also on Peacock.
Yeah, Sam's talked about that one a few times.
Yeah,
we had a guest on as well that talked about it.
So the 3rd season drops on Peacock tomorrow. I've already seen it, the 3rd season, but it's on Peacock tomorrow. So 4th season, however many.
There's
4th season, yeah. So the 4th season drops on Peacock tomorrow. But Peacock's got some good stuff.
I need to check the show out.
It's awesome. Not at all what I was expecting. I was expecting some show about ranchers, but there's murder, there's sex, there's gangs, it's totally like a gangster show, but set in Montana in the ranches and stuff. Like, it's really good. It is really good. And Kevin Costner plays the lead role in it, and he was a producer and creator, I think, or something. Or he had some play with how the show was created, and he's top notch in that show, man.
Yeah,
really?
It kind of feels like a dash of Dallas with like the violence of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I've never seen Dallas, so that comparison lands flat on me. But Breaking Bad, I like that. That's a good thing to compare it to.
It's really good, man. Like it caught my attention from the first episode when I realized that it wasn't at all because several people have told me to watch a show, and I was like, whatever, it's about ranchers, I don't care. But I finally watched it, and it's really good, and the acting is top notch, and so that's another Sam recommendation. I think he's referred me a couple that I've went and saw and have been good. So
yeah, Kevin Costner is actually what turned me off from that show, because I've never been a Kevin Costner fan. Like,
how dare you? How dare you? Field of Dreams, man. Field of freaking Dreams.
The reason why he did well with Field of Dreams was because he was playing somebody who was confused the entire time. Like,
dude, no, man, you haven't watched. So
he's
this
a very
is what
bland actor. Like,
this is what I say about Tyler. Tyler hasn't seen enough movies with the same actor in it to develop a opinion of that actor. How many movies have you seen with Kevin Costner in it, Tyler?
47.
I don't know. I've seen a lot. I mean, I've seen Dances with Wolves. I've seen Field of Dreams. I've seen The Guardian. I've seen Man of Steel. I've seen
Man of Steel. You can't use that.
Robin Hood.
Well, Robin Hood's great. I love Robin Hood. Prince of
Thieves. Prince of Thieves is awesome.
Not really because of Kevin Costner, though. More so Morgan Freeman than Kevin Costner.
Yeah, you are in the minority. This man has won multiple Oscars.
I don't know. I've
Lots of
heard a
people
lot. I've
have
heard a
won
lot of
Oscars
people
that
that
don't
don't
deserve
like.
them.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people not like Costner. This is not the first time I've heard it.
Yeah, I disagree. I love it. Yeah, Yellowstone. He reminds me of my uncle without all the murder and stuff.
Of your uncle?
Yeah, my
Oh.
uncle talks the same way. My uncle is like a cross between Kevin Costner, and Sam Neill from Jurassic Park.
Huh.
Alan.
Do I know this uncle?
Yeah, my uncle Dell.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Dude, if you saw a picture of my uncle Dell and Sam Neill side by side, you can't tell them apart.
I don't know about that.
Dude, it is uncanny. Like he even has a mole in the same place.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't paid that close attention, obviously, to how your uncle looks. I'm not checking your uncle out.
The uncle he's probably seen maybe on 2 occasions for like an hour each. Because
That's
it's not
true.
the uncle.
It's not like I've seen him a bunch. That's a very fair point. I've seen him at like New Year's because his mom has this thing where New Year's is like a family activity, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Every holiday is a family activity at my mother's house. Max, what have you seen? Oh, the other thing before I let you go, Max.
Okay.
I finished Spider-Man Miles Morales last night.
Yeah.
PS5.
Hey, you were telling me about that. Your
And
opinion of it was not fantastic.
It's really fun. The 30 minutes that it takes to beat the game.
I've heard it's very short.
Yeah,
it is extremely short. It's definitely is not enough to be the $70 that I spent on it as a standalone.
Why was it $70?
Because it was the launch edition that had the original game with all the DLC and stuff.
I would say that's worth $70. I mean, you're getting Spider-Man remastered and Miles Morales, but if you buy Miles Morales by itself, it's $50, and I don't think that's worth it, personally.
Yeah, it's not worth $50. It's a little bit longer than most DLCs and shorter than most games. But the mechanics are fantastic. The story just the story's moving along great, and then all of a sudden you hit the last level and you're like, wait a minute. I feel like there's like 4 chapters missing. Like it ramps up into the last chapter, and then you're like, there was not enough build up to this, right?
Yeah.
And then the final boss is easier than any boss you saw before that.
Oh, that's
annoying.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
So, Tyler, did you play Spider-Man? I know you played a few games and you borrowed my PS4.
No. I only played Final Fantasy VII and Last of Us, which I still need to play the second one.
Yeah. It's hard for me to part with my PS4 Pro, but well, now you've got the Series X. You didn't even talk about that. How's that?
The Series X is fantastic. Like it's just so. And this is somebody obviously I didn't have the Xbox One X, so I'm coming from
a big upgrade.
Yeah,
you're coming
OG
from like
Xbox
you're coming from an Xbox One that could barely do 1080p 30 frames a second to a 4K 60 frames like beast.
Yeah. So all the games, like I've only really played one next gen game so far, and that is AC Valhalla.
Yep.
But man, it looks amazing.
I still want you to come over so we can compare. I want to see if we can tell the difference between my PC version and the Xbox version. I suspect we will, and your Xbox version will look better.
Yeah, well, and I'm going to be coming into a little bit of extra money soon, so I went ahead and slapped my Best Buy card down on the LG C10.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I bet that looks amazing on there, dude.
Looks so good.
Well, and that one's HDMI 2.1, so it can do 120 hertz at 4K, right?
Yeah, do 120 hertz at 4K. It's got VRR, Dolby Vision.
You'll have to boot up Rainbow Six Siege because I know that one can do 4K 120. That's like one of the few games that can do it.
Oh yeah, I do own that game. I haven't downloaded it yet. But yeah, it's everything that I normally have been playing recently is just so much more responsive, looks so much better. I was starting to get those I was playing a game that's called Rogue Company. It's not even that graphic intensive, but it's got like some explosions and stuff. And I kept getting booted out of the middle of games because it was like your graphics card can't render the game anymore because it's got not enough memory. So it's just like everything was getting way, way beyond what my original Xbox One could do. So it's just now it's just like my Series X is just like, oh yeah, this game is nothing to me.
Yeah, it runs it with no problem.
Yeah,
that's the whole reason I didn't buy the Xbox over the PlayStation, because I have a One X, and everything you can play on the Series X right now, you can play on the One X, and the One X is phenomenal.
It is a great machine.
Yeah, it didn't make sense for me to buy it now.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, like my PS4 and Pro and my PS5, I probably didn't need to do that either.
that's less of an upgrade there. Yeah.
See, here's the good news for you though, Lance. You've got my account on your PlayStation right now, and I'm not really playing on it much.
Oh,
so
I'm
now's your opportunity. God of War, Death Stranding. I already got God of War downloaded on there for you. I downloaded The Last of Us 2 for you in case you wanted to dive back into that. I downloaded a bunch of games, and I don't know why. I knew I wasn't going to play them. And so now I'm getting notifications from my Cox internet saying you're at 75% of your data for the month. I'm like, crap. It was because I downloaded games for Lance.
Because, he didn't.
And you didn't ask me to.
Yeah. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I upgraded to unlimited a couple months ago, but you used all your data to download stuff on my system, and I got to come home, plug it in, and it worked. But what's funny is,
nice. Yeah, man, you gave it to me for a few days. I got all the updates put in there for you, and you could just immediately plug and play. You didn't have to wait.
Yeah, I literally turned it, and that's the crazy thing, dude, with this game. I turn it off, I come back to play, and literally within 20 seconds, I'm playing my game. It's amazing. Like from right where I left off, in everything, like nothing had changed. It's fantastic. Like your PS4 Pro and your Xbox One X, like you would have to wait for it to load, and then it would have to boot up to that point and everything. But this thing just goes right for it. It's amazing how quick it is.
Yeah.
But I do plan on getting an Xbox eventually, because I'm much more of an Xbox guy. But the PlayStation 5 is awesome, and I'm glad you're hearing you're having fun with your Xbox.
Yeah, and I mean it's the same new experience, like with my Xbox One. When I wanted to I didn't fast travel somewhere unless it was really, really far away, because the loading time would take longer than the travel time.
Yeah, now it's like, I'll fast travel. It takes 10 seconds.
Oh, I don't do it. Spider-Man, man. The best part is swinging from location.
Yeah, and Spider-Man, no. In Spider-Man, you don't fast travel.
They added that. I was like, what kind of cheap bastards are using the train to get to over there? Like, just swing. That's the best part. Yeah. And now they've added it to where you push a button and you toggle your thumbstick and he does tricks in the air.
Yeah, it's so fun.
And you get points for doing tricks in the air, dude. Like, it's fun, man.
Yeah, swinging around is like the best part of the Spider-Man game.
Do you have to have a building around to web sling?
Yeah, no. So if you go through, you do.
Not really. You can swing through Central Park on the trees.
But he's on the tree, so you can't get that high. You can't get that high arch. Like you're always hovering to the ground, and it's quick, like quick.
That doesn't seem very authentic to me.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Tyler, if you're really good, they'll have all these cranes line up just so you.
There you go.
Oh, yeah,
Amazing Spider-Man 1 style.
No, I'm just making fun of it because there's always like those images of Spider-Man web slinging, and there's just like open sky, and you have no idea where his web's like attached.
You can tell because I watched a video on it. You can tell like if you're on the street and over here is like the boardwalk and over here's the buildings. Your web is always coming from the buildings. Like you can't do it this way. So he like swings and you have to like correct yourself because you're getting drawn to the building.
So it's got really good physics built into it.
It does. Yeah. Dude, it feels so good. The movement in Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales is amazing.
Yeah.
But I really don't have a lot to report on what I'm watching. I'm watching Ozark. I'm in season 3 right now. And I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's really all I've been up to. Kelsey and I just finished watching Psych. Finally, we watched both movies. Finished Psych 2 this week. Lassie Come Home.
Very
really
nice.
Funny. I'm so glad I finally did it. What was really odd, though, is I've watched so much Psych lately. The first episode of A Million Little Things season 1 came out, and I go to watch that, and James Roday is in that show, and he's not Sean Spencer in that show. He's like Sean Spencer.
He has a little bit. He has a little bit,
but he's also very serious. And I'm just like, this is really off-putting. What's going on right now? He's being so serious, even though he's like the goofiest one on the show still.
Yeah.
So that was a little weird.
Does he put his fingers to his temple at all?
He does. There's one episode where he does that. Like, yeah, they're like doing a karaoke, and he like.
He's the only reason I come to watch that show. You guys know that?
He's hilarious.
Like, that's why I love A Million Little Things so much better than This Is Us, and it's all because of James Roday.
Well, I love both shows, but Psych 2 had a really funny joke that honestly went over my head at first. Kelsey had to explain it to me. But there's a joke where, is it Abby? Abby from A Million Little Things is in Psych 2, the actress. And Sean and James, so James Roday and Abby, and they're talking. And then A Million Little Things, they're a couple, and then in Psych, obviously, they're not. But anyway, they have a little interaction, and then they start talking to Sean's dad, and Sean's dad starts talking about how he's been watching This Is Us. And Sean's like, why are you watching that show? There's a newer one on ABC, but there's the same show on ABC, but newer. And I'm like, what's he talking about? And I'm like, oh, it's his show.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And then the other funny part is that the guy who plays Lassiter is in This Is Us as well. So it's like half of these people on these shows are now in A Million Little Things or This Is Us.
Yeah.
Isn't James Roday, James Roday Rodriguez, isn't he a producer, like a co-producer or something on Last of Us or something like that?
Last of Us?
Not Last of Us.
This Is Us?
This
I don't
Us.
know. Maybe he is.
James Roday?
I'm not sure about that. But anyway, so that's what we've been up to. And then, I mentioned it, The Million Little Things, watched the first episode. Excuse me. It's really good, but I've been watching so much Psych that it was just weird to watch such a serious show because Psych is so goofy all the time, no matter what. And then A Million Little Things is like drama. Let's see if we can get you depressed this week. And I love it. It's cathartic, but it's not a happy show for the most part.
James Roday isn't involved with This Is Us.
No, a Million Little Things is what I meant to say. I don't watch these shows. I get them mixed up.
Well, it doesn't surprise me if he's a producer. He's one of the lead actors on A Million Little Things as well.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I forgot that there's one other thing. Supernatural had its series finale on Thursday. And it was less than exciting as I thought it was going to be.
Oh, that sucks.
So
after 15 years, that's a letdown.
So here's the thing. The episode prior to it, right? Last week's episode felt like a series finale with just little pieces missing, like the bows. This one, they could have played these two back to back as like part 1 and part 2, and I probably would have liked it more. But this one just felt like it was total fan service. Like there wasn't really much that happened. It was just what happens, like how do these two people die, essentially. And it was very sweet and it was very touching. And I cried a couple times. And it was fantastic. But at the same point, I'm like, you could have taken this and just put it into last week's episode and just ran them back to back, and it would have been much better.
I wonder if that's a CW issue because I feel like Arrow, the finale was kind of weird on that too. Like if
they definitely spent more time on this than they did Arrow. As far as the quality of the last episode and all the effort that went into it, like they definitely spent more time on this. But
because like Arrow wasn't even in his final episode, it was just weird.
It was Crisis, right?
Well, that was his actual last episode, yeah. But I mean,
Arrow,
like the actual show ended without him even in it. It was just weird.
Because he died in January and it ended in like May, right?
I mean, you're going into some pretty deep spoilers here, but yeah.
If people who watch the show
definitely old enough to do spoilers,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and plus it was widely reported that he died. So if anybody is like, but they were trying to set up the Arrow girls, right?
Yeah, which may or may not happen. We'll see. I actually didn't mind that little episode they did. I thought that was kind of cool.
But Supernatural set it up to where Sam has a son in the last episode, and he's older by the end of the episode, and his name's Dean as well. They could really like do something afterwards with this like new. I have a feeling CW, because it's their most watched show, is Supernatural.
Yeah.
Last night did in typical CW fashion, they don't get as many as the networks, but I think it did 1.9 million or something like that, which is amazing for CW.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I thought that was pretty darn good for them.
Yeah, what Grey's Anatomy that same night had like 5.4.
Wait, that show's still on?
Yeah.
Gosh,
I don't know
dang.
how. But yeah, it was good. So if you guys or anybody listening, I know Kyle probably has already seen it, but it was good. I cried.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Kyle seeing Grey's Anatomy. I was starting to laugh.
No. Kyle seeing Supernatural.
Yeah, I know he's a big Supernatural fan.
Let's get into our main topic of the night, Mandalorian, Chapter 12. It's the 4th episode of the 2nd season. I have a few concerns with this season thus far, but I'd like to get your thoughts on it, guys. And who wasn't here last week? It was myself, and was Tyler not here last week?
Yeah, it was Sam and I and Julian.
It was Max and me running the show. And we
Tyler,
did a great
let's
job,
have
I must say.
Tyler, let's have you start. What's your thoughts on Chapter 12?
Well, they kind of did what I was expecting them to do, which is they threw out Ahsoka Tano's name last episode in episode 2, and I was like, they're just going to, or episode 3, sorry. So they were just going to give us some breadcrumbs and hold off Ahsoka for later. You know what I mean?
Which is exactly what happened.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like you know, when Drew Barrymore has the Reese's Pieces in E.T. and she's just like placing them out there for E.T. to follow it. That's kind of what I feel like Disney's doing with Mandalorian. But then, like, you know, every once in a while dumping out like a few more you know, Reese's Pieces for us. But it's fine. It's creating anticipation. I really liked it. I kind of like how they're bringing in stuff from like old novels and comics and stuff that has been deemed not canon. They're kind of bringing it back in, and it's kind of making me look more at that kind of stuff. So overall, I liked it. I thought the interactions with Baby Yoda this episode were very fun. They're definitely capitalizing on that.
Right. You did a little video, right?
Yeah, I did a little.
You should share that on the Couch Crunchers page, man. It was funny.
Yeah, I'll put it up. It's just basically the clip of him fixing the ship with Baby Yoda, or trying to. And it just starts off by saying, "When Mom calls for tech support." That's what it's like, because that's definitely what it's like talking to my mom about tech support. Sorry, Mom, love you. But that's how it is. So, and that was actually Kaylee who mentioned that. She was like, "That sounds like you talking to your mom." So,
yeah,
do this.
But
that
overall,
was a funny scene.
Yeah, overall, I'm really enjoying it. I thought it was a fun episode. I knew it was going to be something where they were going to hold off on the major stuff, but they still did give us more content with everything that was going on at the factory and stuff. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Sam, what about you?
Okay, so I have a bit of a celebrity crush on Gina Carano. She is just so great. The little beauty spot she's got under her eye just knocks my socks off every time. So any episode she's in is going to get an extra half star just for the fact that she's in it.
So I agree with you. Gina Carano, I think, is gorgeous, but I think there's also an intimidation factor that I know she could beat the crap out of me.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah, sure, in the MMA arena, but bring her to Triple D Dodgeball. We'll see how she fares.
I'm pretty sure I would lose there too.
that is an official call out to you, Gina Carano.
It's an invitation. It's not a call out. It's an invitation.
Okay.
She knows. She knows that's a standing invitation. I've made it several times before.
I want to see this one-on-one Gina Carano, Sam the movie mechanic, going at it, mano a mano. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
We'd have so many people looking through that.
He means that dodgeball.
Yeah, mano a mano, and then we play dodgeball.
You won't be standing to play dodgeball.
Oh, the perv level just went up to 100 on the show, guys. Oh man!
But I enjoyed. I feel like they're giving the child / baby Yoda, whatever you want to call him, they're giving him a lot more personality. I call it a him, but I don't know. I don't know if it's a boy or girl, but the child has had a lot more vocalization, right?
Yeah, you hear a lot more
kind of grunts and that's about it. But that grunts and slurps. But he was actually like cooing and doing a lot more vocalization. So we might have some actual weird Yoda syntax coming up here pretty soon.
Well, and
by the end, he'll say something like 50 years old. You know, when you're 50 years old, you look as good you will not. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, and you can see that he understands more than what maybe people originally thought, because he's, with the part on the ship where he's like, get the red wire, so you can
the red one.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Just like lifting his hands up. And don't put them together, and immediately puts them together. I'm sure anyone who has a toddler can sympathize with this interaction.
Yeah, they do exactly what you tell them not to do.
Yeah.
And then there were like some moments I was like scratching my head. Yeah, especially towards the end when they're starting to reveal the actual purpose behind them wanting to take the child, as well as the sinister goings on at the old Empire outpost. And then there was kind of this scene at the end that reminded me a lot of the final scene of The Prestige, or one of the final scenes in The Prestige, where you see all of the dead Hugh Jackmans in their tanks, in their water tanks, right? And I mean, they look to me like Darth Vader's, just lined along the wall. And maybe that's wrong, because Moff Gideon is definitely also wearing a suit very reminiscent of Darth Vader's suit. So maybe they're Moff Gideons lining the wall. But they definitely look like clones. They look like clones to me.
Well,
I was thinking
on that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They looked like Death Trooper armor to me. And Death Troopers were, you've seen them in Star Wars before, but if you remember like the season finale of Mandalorian, there were some stormtroopers in like black armor. Those are Death Troopers. That's what the armor looked like to me. I don't know. It maybe isn't, but Death Troopers are like the most elite stormtroopers. They're actually stormtroopers that can then shoot their weapons properly and actually hit you. And they're like elite trained, can like go toe to toe with a Jedi almost.
Well, here's another thing that's always been an issue is like, why does the Empire only give blaster proof armor to some of its soldiers and not all the stormtroopers? Like every stormtrooper, it's a one-hit kill from those blasters. Like
I know their armor does nothing.
Their armor does nothing. They get shot with the blaster. No matter where it hits them, they're down.
They can't see through it. It doesn't protect them. It's useless.
What do they even
style. Have? It looked cool in the 80s, and so it has to be this way.
Powerful an armor. You guys remember Jojo Rabbit? His little friend who walks up and he says, "Is that your uniform? It looks like it's made of paper." And he goes, "It's paper-like." That's the stormtrooper armor. It's paper-like.
Yeah, as far as why they don't give all the stormtroopers the good armor, there's just not enough material. Like the materials are super rare to do that. But as why they give them such crappy armor, no idea. supposedly the armor during the Clone Wars was way better. Rex talks about that, how the armor actually protected you a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. It's a mystery. It's like Max said, it was cool in the 80s. And
in fact, I think the Stormtrooper armor actually enhances the damage done by those blaster shots, because if you just got shot in the arm with a blaster or in the shoulder with a blaster without any armor, you'd lose your arm, but presumably you could still keep fighting with the other arm. But if you're wearing the Stormtrooper armor and you get shot in the shoulder, you're out. You're dead.
You get shot in the toe, you're done.
Well, and it also enhances heavy damage from small sticks from midgets.
I was gonna make this joke.
From teddy bears, from forest teddy bears, forest teddy bears,
and the tops of door frames.
Yes.
Yes. That's a funny blooper.
Well,
not a blooper.
It's not a blooper. It's in the movie.
I know, it was a mistake that made its way into the movie. I think that's just such
an uncut blooper.
Trivia. That's the word I was looking for. Fun bit of trivia.
Max, what about you? What did you think of this episode? I have a feeling that I'm going to be in the minority based on how this show is going so far. So,
yeah, I thought Max, it was a fantastic episode. I loved it. It was. So I know that the second episode we talked about how it felt like it was fillery, and honestly, once we saw the third episode, I felt less like that because it wrapped up. I still think you could probably skip the second episode and you wouldn't miss anything, so that is a downer. But I don't think you can skip this episode. It advances the plot. Like, there's important things that happen. You learn about clones. You learn about Baby Yoda being involved in that. Like, I don't think it's a stretch to say that what they're trying to do here is explain how the Palpatine clone was made in Rise of Skywalker. Like, to me, this is the beginnings of Snoke being created, and that's what Moff Gideon his work is essentially going to do. I don't know if he's going to get the child in order to do it, but obviously we know Snoke does get created, and then he corrupts Kylo Ren, and the Emperor comes back, all that. So I'm liking how it's tying into the overarching Star Wars arc, whether you like the sequels or not. Like, it seems to be tying into them. I think that's cool to have that continuity. I loved seeing Gina Carano again as the Marshal. That was fun. Why am I forgetting his name right now? Carl Weathers. It was fun to see his character again. I loved that there was this team up. And I wanted to see Ahsoka, but I was pretty confident we weren't going to get to see her. I could still see another episode going by without us seeing Ahsoka. My brother and I were talking about this today. We were helping my sister move, and he and I were talking about the episode as we moved. It may not be till episode 6. It may not even be until the finale that we finally get to see Ahsoka. I'm glad that she's coming, but it might be a while. So the episode, I think, was great. Not as good as last episode. That was seriously one of the best Mandalorian episodes I've ever seen, if not the best one. It had me giggling and giddy, and I was so enthralled the entire time. This episode didn't do that for me as much, but I did really enjoy it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Had a lot of lore. Before we hear from you, Lance, I kind of wanted to touch on something Tyler said, though, if that's okay. Tyler, you mentioned that it's bringing in things that were in the Legends material. What are you referring to?
Well, like the Death Troopers.
Okay.
Death Troopers aren't canon anymore.
No, they are. Death Troopers are in. They're just not talked about a lot. Death Troopers are actually in the third book of the Thrawn trilogy. They're talked about a lot in there. You haven't finished that one yet. You'll get to that.
No, I haven't. Well, they weren't considered canon for a while, and now
now they are.
They have not been on screen. So I like that they are including things like that.
Yeah, that's cool. What else? Is there any?
There was something else. I can't remember off the top of my head right now what it was, but
okay.
But yeah, I just like that they're incorporating those things, and they're actually thinking about the original trilogies and stuff like that when they are creating it. So I just like all the connections. I think they're doing a really good job of really thinking things through. So yeah, no, I just think that when we had the sequel trilogies, there were so many things that they just didn't take the time to be like, think about the rest of the franchise. Whereas with Mandalorian, they're taking that time. So Yeah.
Well, there's a difference there. I mean, look who's running the show with Mandalorian, and look who ran it for the new trilogy, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's Kathleen Kennedy as opposed to Jon Favreau.
Well,
I mean, Kathleen Kennedy
wasn't doing anything.
She was just getting in the way.
She honestly didn't offer any overarching supervision on the directors of the individual movies. J.J. Abrams had a really good setup that was very reminiscent of A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Rian Johnson went in a totally different direction, and a lot of people, probably didn't like it. I thought it was really cool. I thought there were a lot of really cool things, and the Force abilities were expanded greatly during The Last Jedi. But then J.J. Abrams was like, no, that was the wrong direction, and he tried to bring it back, but he just didn't have enough screen time to undo what Rian Johnson had done, or at least the parts of it that he didn't want done.
Well, that just speaks to my point, though. There's
not consistent threads holding the whole thing together.
Yeah. So Kathleen Kennedy had an inactivity, right? Due to her inactivity is what made kind of the wheels fall off, right? Whereas Jon Favreau seems very involved with The Mandalorian and seems like a fan. Then you have Kevin Feige over at Marvel, who's a big Marvel fan and is kind of the puppet master for everything, right? He kind of is the word when it comes to what stays and what goes and what can be mentioned and where the story is ultimately going to go. And then he leaves it up to his directors to kind of craft his vision. Kathleen Kennedy just sat back drinking mimosas and didn't do anything.
I feel like we've had 126 episodes of the show and said this exact same thing 100 times.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if we need to hash this out again. I'd love to hear what you think of the episode.
I've been pretty bored this entire season. So there's been some awesome moments like fight scenes and chase scenes and stuff, but I feel like they are relying way too heavily on the comedic element from the child. And it's gotten to the point where it's annoying me how often they do it. I did like the scene where he's telling him, with the wires and everything like that. Like, I thought it was funny, but the second episode, like the egg thing just got way too much at a point. And that's not why I'm coming to watch this show. I'm coming to watch this show for I want less of the filler stuff. And every time the child has this little moment where it doesn't progress the story, I just count that as filler things. The first episode of the season was good. The second one, not so much. These last two were better than the second one, but I still don't feel fulfilled like I did in the first season. I think the first season was far better. Yeah, it might just be that I'm not a Star Wars fan. So a lot of the threads you guys are talking about and these things, they don't connect for me. So as a casual viewer that just was like, oh, this is a cool show that doesn't really have a lot of backstory, or doesn't have an understanding of a lot of the backstory prior to the show, but enjoyed the first season, it's not doing what it needs to do for me.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like having watched Clone Wars and Rebels makes a big difference this season. When it's the last season, it didn't as much. Like the only major thing I can think of off the top of my head from season 1 was the dark saber.
Yeah, but and that's so at the end,
Yeah, so the end thing, and it was not really something you needed to know the background for to think it was cool, So yeah, I can definitely see the.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I can definitely see where you're coming from. So.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's a fair point. They did say going into this season that they were going to talk a lot more about Star Wars lore, and I can see how for someone like you who's not a Star Wars guy, how that can be boring. For Tyler and I, who are big Star Wars fans, I mean, I can't speak for you, Tyler, but for me, super exciting, and I love it. Yeah. Loving all the lore. But I get it. I get where you're coming from, Lance. It's not appealing to you.
This is my fear when it comes to having a movie universe and then tying television shows and books into that movie universe, right? So Marvel's about to do the same thing, as we know, right? The WandaVision's coming out, Falcon Winter Soldier. And of course, I'm going to watch it because I'm a big fan of the Marvel universe in general, comics, from comics to, anything they produce. I'm a fan of it. But
well, did you just try to retcon Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Daredevil and all the Defender series out of existence?
Well, Kevin Feige already did that.
Yeah, you're right.
So, but now they're starting to do it again, but Kevin Feige's got control over it. What happens when a movie comes out, like Captain Marvel 2 or something like that, that relies so heavily on what has happened in the TV shows that it's going to go over fans' heads? And my fear is not so much me, because I'll understand it, but my fear is once it continually goes over their heads, and once we see ticket sales drop or something like that, like something happens, how much longer are they going to continue to make these movies, right? And that's why I'm not sure. I haven't seen anybody successfully do the TV show and movie universe as one yet. You guys agree with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. It hasn't been tried a lot yet. I don't know. I see your point.
Star Wars has been trying to do that for decades.
Yeah, but they haven't connected.
That's what all these animated series are all about.
Absolutely, but what they haven't done yet is connect the animated series to where you have to watch the animated series to understand what's going on in the movies. I think that's what you're talking about, right, Lance? Is like you have to watch the TV to understand the movies, and I think Kevin Feige has said that that's going to be the case. That some of it's going to be required viewing. I think
we're having characters jump back and forth. I mean, at least with when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. first came out, the movies affected Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't affect the movies. So if you watch those shows and then you watch the movies, just because you hadn't seen the show, it's not going to throw you off, right? It eventually changed about season 5 or 6 or something like that.
Yeah. But
in the beginning, you remember, like after Thor: The Dark World, that episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they were cleaning up all the mess from the movie.
Yeah.
So it down trickles, but it never up trickle. It never goes upstream, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's the only way it would work is when it goes downstream but not upstream. And it's just
I want it to go upstream. I think that's more interesting and exciting, but I do agree that they have to juggle that very carefully, because you are going to have people that just go see the movies. They don't want to watch the TV shows. That's not interesting. They're just like, you know what? It's Friday night. I want to go to the movies, and I'm going to go see this new Marvel movie. People like that. It is going to be tough if they have to watch the TV shows. But I don't know. I trust that Marvel will be creative and make it to where it will still be enjoyable for that kind of audience. I think what's happening in The Mandalorian isn't any kind of required viewing. You don't have to know the books, the comics, the TV shows. I think that the story is just not done yet. And so like Tyler and I and Mike, who's in the chat, like we know things. Just like I haven't read all the Marvel and DC comics. So like when I'm watching the movies, I don't always know, oh, this is probably going to happen next. Whereas like a Corbin or a Matt would, or even you, like you've read more comics, Lance, like things from the comics that I don't, but that doesn't mean that I can't still enjoy it. I think we're just not done with the season and the story yet. I think some of the stuff that's confusing you is going to be explained within the show later.
You were more prepared. You were more prepared for Brie Larson to come out looking like Justin Bieber in Endgame than I was.
That's true. Even though I still think she looked ridiculous, but I get it.
Yeah, it is that is the comic look. The comic look.
It's not quite the comic look.
Yeah,
not
they took
exactly
some liberties, but the connection
like
is made
between Karen and the comic look.
Yeah. She does look very Karen, which is hilarious because Brie Larson is not a Karen fan. So, but
that doesn't mean she can't be a Karen.
Yeah, it's almost to the point where I'm just gonna stop watching and wait for it all to be released, and then like it's almost gotten to that point, where I'm just gonna wait for the whole thing to be released and then watch it.
I mean,
well, then what are we gonna talk about next week?
I know, right? We've been talking about The Mandalorian. It's the only thing relevant right now.
Yeah. Lance is like, I'm done. I'm gonna wait. The other three of us are just kind of looking at each other like,
no,
but we can review each week.
Me feeling this. Obviously, I have other reasons for watching it, right? But me feeling this way, how many other people also feel this way is what I'm trying to say. Like, if I'm like, why did I watch this? When, first of all, the episodes are much shorter than they were last season. This one's a little bit longer, but the episodes have been about 30 minutes. With the beginning credits and the end credits, there's about 30 minutes of content in there. To the point was, why are you making me wait a week for what's supposed to be this epic event thing every Friday? And really, you're not giving me that much, right? This last episode might be different. I need to rewatch it because now talking to you guys, I realize there's a bunch of crap that I missed, right? There's a bunch of things that I didn't quite understand.
I think Mike is replying to who's talking bad about this, and he says no one. I think he's right. I think you're the only person that doesn't like this season.
Well, because the only people that are talking about it are Star Wars fans. And
yeah,
I'm not really a Star Wars fan.
I've only seen positivity about this season, except for episode 2, because it was kind of bland and fillery. Otherwise, I've seen nothing but positivity. But you're right. I'm seeing a lot of it in like my Facebook groups that are Star Wars centric. So yeah, I think this season is very geared towards Star Wars fans, and that makes it more enjoyable. Sam, what's your take?
For me.
Sure. So Sam, what is your take? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you kind of in between Tyler and I?
I thought it was really fun. I thought it was really interesting, and I would say I'm kind of an erstwhile Star Wars fan. Like, I enjoy the movies probably more than the actual quote unquote Star Wars fans do. I did enjoy The Last Jedi, and I also enjoyed Rise of Skywalker, but I did feel like they were trying to do two different things. Like, Last Jedi was going this way, and then Rise of Skywalker was like, nope, you got to bring it back down. We got to get back down on the same plane. And so there was kind of a disconnect between those. But I have watched a lot of Clone Wars. I have watched I haven't read the entire book series or read all the comics, but I have enjoyed some of them, right? So I'm not like super well versed. I've never played any of the adventure games, so I'm kind of just like a casual Star Wars fan. And I know my older brothers, they are, especially my one brother who showed up at dodgeball this week, but he is like, intense Star Wars fan, and he's probably up on the lore like you and Tyler are. And I feel like this season is trying to get people like me to take the next step towards Star Wars fandom. Look at all of this rich history. Look at all these names we're dropping. Look at all these weird artifacts that there are. Come see what else is there. Look into the interstitial space between those movies and see what kind of lore we can provide for you that you can dig into. And it is frustrating because I don't understand the richness like Lance, right? I don't have the same kind of experience with the richness of the Star Wars lore that you and Tyler do. But I can appreciate that there is this richness and that I'm just kind of skirting on the top level of it. Mm-hmm. That said, when you guys were flipping out in episode 3, I was like, neat. They got the same gal who voiced Bo-Katan to play Bo-Katan in real life. I thought that was neat. I wasn't like,
for me, it was.
I was like,
that's the same person that voiced it? See, I didn't even know that.
Katie Sackhoff. And I was like, good job. That's neat. Continuity. We love continuity. That's a good job.
Well, that's kind of cool.
So I do want to address something real quick. I did some real fast research. Lance, the episodes are not shorter this season. They were the same length last season.
Well, are you looking at the runtime? Or are you looking at the actual content within the runtime? Because
I'm looking at the runtime.
Okay, because here's the deal: is that they are stretching the credits out to pad the runtime. That is true. Lance is right. Lance is right about that.
Yes,
the credits are 6 minutes long. and they're padding the runtime with the art scenes and the during the credits and adding that into the runtime. Lance is right. The actual content of the episodes is reduced by about 3 or 4 minutes. It's not a ton, but it is enough that you're like, okay, well, I feel like they could have added some more stuff in here, given me a little more meat on the bone.
I would prefer longer episodes. Don't get me wrong. I was just looking at all the runtimes and
you can't look at that. That's not.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to dig into that more off air.
I've looked at it. The last episode was 32 minutes long. The actual content of the video of the episode.
Yeah.
The last season there was episodes that were 40 minutes long. In right around that 40 mark. The
45 minutes.
The last 3 episodes have been around the 30-minute mark.
I think maybe you're just having so much fun that they feel shorter.
No, I've looked like literally. So it seems like the beginning part is longer when they're talking about.
Okay, Mike is right. Mike just commented the first episode of the season was still the longest, even with the credits. Yeah, and that is true. It was like a double episode. I didn't notice it until
the second episode.
The first episode was like a double episode, and then Lance, I felt it. It seems like Lance felt it. The second episode was far shorter. And then the third episode was shorter still, and then the fourth episode was like right in line or right in between the second and the third episodes in length.
So the beginning where they're talking about what happened last episode, I think is longer, and the credits are super long. So to the point where I'm turning it off at the credits, and Disney isn't even recognizing that when I come back next week to put on the next episode to play the next episode. Yeah,
you haven't triggered the automatic next episode.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And which you're like, okay, well, is there something I need to be watching these credits for? Is there an after credits scene? Is there a teaser for the next episode? And no, I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was disappointing because I felt like the second and third episode could have been one episode.
Well, I'm not really going to argue on this too much because I agree. I wish the episodes were longer. I really do. And from season 1, I feel the same way too. I remember finishing an episode and being like, that was only 30 minutes? What the heck? Because they had several episodes that were like 32, 33 minutes. Like they were short. And that's not what I was really wanting out of it. But at the end of the day, I'm really having fun. So it's like maybe shorter is actually better. I don't know.
Here's the deal. That Mike just said, sweet artwork. And yes, it is very cool. But where can we purchase those prints?
Yeah, Disney, I'm surprised hasn't made that readily available.
We need to be able to paper our walls with all those prints from the credits.
Why does it matter to somebody like me? Like,
yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't matter to you. You're like, okay, well, I'm ready to move on to the next thing. Well, I'm not gonna stay here and wait for 4 minutes, 5 minutes for.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even care to look at all of it. As soon as the episode's over, I'm done. I don't look at all the art. Like, some people love it. That's totally fine. That's not for me.
See, and here's the thing, like, because I know that I'm probably going to get these freaking people that are calling me a Star Wars hater or a troll or whatever it is. I genuinely want to like it. You know what I mean? I loved the first season to the point where I was super excited for episode 1. And episode 1 or chapter, what is that? 8, 9?
Chapter 9, yeah.
9. Chapter 9 came out and I was like, this is awesome. If the whole season goes this way, they got a fan, right? Then the second episode came out. I was like, what the hell was that? The frog people? Like, what are we doing here? It's just there's a little bit of inconsistency between episode to episode that is getting me a little bit disenfranchised. Would that be the word? Like,
no, disenchanted.
Disenchanted. Thank you. It's just not maintaining my thing to the point where I tried watching the newest episode last night and turned it off and watched Mr. Mercedes and then watched it again today, 2 hours before our show started.
Man, I'm sorry you're not getting as much enjoyment out of it. That's really too bad.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to like burst the bubble that is your guys's.
My bubble's not burst. I really don't care. I'm having fun no matter what. Whether you like it or not is irrelevant to me.
But it just
you don't like Lord of the Rings either, and I still
let him have it.
Well, no, like I'm just saying, like I love it so much, it doesn't really matter if Lance does. Like I
Yeah.
want you to though, because like we're best friends and I want to share this with you, but I'm still going to enjoy it no matter what.
Well, and Max will testify. He watched the second episode with me, and Max, I was on my feet most of the time walking around, wasn't I? Because
you weren't
Testify,
doing it
Max.
at all.
it did little.
Testify.
Testify.
It said,
Please be to the force.
I don't know. I'm hoping for more. Like, there was an episode last season that I loved that it didn't seem like everybody else liked, or maybe it was just between us four. The one that Bryce Dallas Howard directed with the is it at or AT-AT?
It's the ATST.
ATST.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem like a lot of people liked that episode, but I loved that episode.
I loved that episode.
And I think that my preferences are just different than those that are big Star Wars fans.
I think there was only one episode last season that I like didn't like, and it was the heist one. I thought that one was stupid. I didn't like the one where he teams up with Joel McHale. It was not Joel McHale. Bill Burr.
Oh, see, I like that episode.
Hated that episode.
Well, I love Bill Burr for one, but I liked that episode. I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
I like that one. I mean, I didn't dislike any episode last season.
There was only one moment I didn't like, and that's where he took his helmet off.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I also didn't like the one on Tatooine with the really annoying bounty hunter. That's the one I really didn't like. The heist one was okay, but there was one on Tatooine where Mando's with this bounty hunter. Oh, so annoying.
The one that gets killed.
Yeah. In fact, when I did a rewatch this last time, I skipped that episode.
I totally cut you off, Tyler. I'm sorry about that, man.
Oh, that's all right. I don't remember what I was even saying.
I probably cut people off too. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, let's give our reviews. We'll talk about a couple of the big hit list items that I want to touch on real quick. Because I think we've dived into this pretty good. Tyler, let's start with you, my friend. What are your thoughts on this episode?
So yeah, I thought it was really good. I really liked how they brought back Gina Carano and Carl Weathers' character, which I don't remember his name in the show.
They don't really ever say
Grief
it. I forget it.
Is Grief something or other?
Yeah.
Anyway, I just want him to kill an alligator in the show, but
Grief Karga.
His character has definitely changed, and so I kind of liked his character progression. But yeah, I think it's really like fun. I know that Lance doesn't care for this so much, but I loved watching like the scenes with Baby Yoda where he like steals the blue crackers. And,
thought that was hilarious.
So
that's how you use the Force, man.
That's right. You steal
me some freaking cookies, crackers, or whatever.
Whatever they were, blue stuff.
Force pull the remote to you. I mean, come on, these are practical uses,
right? And then they gave us just enough to still keep the story going and not have it be something where you can just skip the whole episode without getting some meat in there. Yeah, I really thought it was good. There were a couple of things that I didn't like. I wasn't a huge fan of the blue fish guy.
Oh yeah, he's a little obnoxious, but I still like him.
And he's not like a terrible person. They're really mean to him. Kind of bullies. But
he's a criminal though.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like a murderer. He was like a shady accountant.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, I think overall I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5.
Sam, what about you?
Yeah, so I enjoyed the episode. I probably enjoyed it a lot more than the second episode, which I think is probably the weakest episode so far. The first episode was probably the strongest. The third episode was a high point, obviously, for those who have kind of a deep understanding of the Star Wars characters and the extended universe. But for me, as kind of the in-between guy, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was probably my second favorite after the first one this season because it tied in with stuff that was going on in the first season. And it brought back Gina Carano, it brought back Carl Weathers, people who I was already familiar with. And it extended their story and gave us more to go on and showed that they had taken the benefits from the first season and were developing something new on that particular world, Navarro. And then it also gave us some of the deep, dark secrets going on at this particular base, which was interesting. And I hope it ties in with the thing that they're trying to do with the extended universe, where, there's all of these other parts out there. And guess what? They all tie together in this particular project that centers on the child. So it made me hopeful. I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it 3.5, or three cushions and a throw pillow.
Wait. Is that with the bonus half a cushion with Gina Carano being in it?
Oh, with Gina Carano, then we're going to boost it up to a 4. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah,
You're welcome.
Max, what about you?
I'm also at a 4 out of 5. I was considering giving it a 4.5, but I don't think it quite hit that mark for me. Really enjoyed it. I loved seeing all the stuff with Baby Yoda, or the child. I know he's not actually Yoda, but I loved the cookies or crackers, whatever they were. Seeing him eat them. I loved the little joke with the red and blue wire. Very relatable. I've tried to give young kids instructions before, and they just look at you like, huh? Like, I was thinking of, like, he's about 18 months old now, nephew, who, if I tried to get him to do something for me, he would just kind of stare at me and, like, just hold his hand up. Like, that kind of just reminded me of those interactions. And then, of course, I enjoyed the action. I like Gina Carano. I don't have the crush on her like you guys do, but I enjoy seeing her in the show. I think she's really great, a great addition. There was one moment, though, I think she was running, and she just looked so awkward. And you can tell that, like, when it comes to her action sequences, she's awesome because she's a fighter in real life. Like, it's authentic. She knows what she's doing. But then there was a part where she was, like, running or something, and it just looked odd.
She's running to the ship.
Yeah,
and that ship they escape in.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe one of these days it'll be a really endearing run, kind of like Keanu Reeves. He looks goofy when he runs, but now I'm just like, who cares, man? It's Keanu Reeves, man. John Wick is mother effing gonna kill you. But yeah, and then of course Mando was really great. It was fun to see him fly more and like use his piloting skills. I saw someone on one of my Star Wars pages saying that Mando is a better pilot than Poe Dameron and Han Solo, and I don't agree with that. But because, like, for the most part in The Mandalorian, we've just seen him get shot at and, like, get out of it. He hasn't really been fighting at people that much. And this week
he didn't really navigate in episode 2 very well as a pilot.
No, and that's why I'm like, why are you saying he's a better pilot? He's not a bad pilot, but, like, anyway. So it was kind of fun to see him actually go on the offensive and take some people out. That was cool. The most bad A thing he's still to this date that he's done in the air, though, was in the season finale last season when he freaking jetpacks into the air and then grapples on a Moff Gideon's TIE fighter. That was the most bad A thing he's done in flight to date. But yeah, I think it was a really great episode. 4 out of 5 for me. And I'm excited to see what they do next. Hopefully Ahsoka's in the next episode, but I think we're going to have to wait at least one more.
So I'm trying to remember episode 2. Did I give it, or chapter 10, right? That was the second episode of this season.
Yeah.
Did I give it a 2 out of 5?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Because this one was better than that one for me. So this one had a lot more action, and so I'm comparing it to episode 2 because I really didn't like that one. But this one had more action in it. I just wish I kind of understood some of the things that were happening because I'm not. And when I'm not understanding or I'm bored, I tend not to look at the screen a lot because my ADHD takes me everywhere else. So a lot of things you guys are saying are missing. So I'm going to try to watch it again. We'll see. I'll report back here to see if my score changes. But right now I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5.
Oh, that's higher. That's higher than I expected you to give it.
Well, I mean, it wasn't bad. It's just because there was some like cool explosions and stuff. Episode 2, nothing happened except Baby Yoda eating eggs. So there wasn't really any of that. There wasn't really any of that content that was like exciting and all
the
this other
spider
things.
stuff was really cool, but
you didn't like the spa scene with the frog lady?
No. But yeah, I'm hoping that my opinion of the show changes because, like I said, I loved season 1. It was like must-watch television for me, and so far, this hasn't been must-watch television for me.
Here's what I suspect is going to happen, Lance. Last season, I remember feeling similarly about this part of about this long into the season. I'm like, not a lot has happened. Like, I'm enjoying every episode, but nothing's really happening. And then the last 2 episodes of the season, a bunch happened. And I have a feeling that the same thing's going to happen here. That we're just going to like, they're giving us little tidbits, and then episodes 7 and 8 of the season are going to be like packed full of stuff. And that's not how I prefer. I don't prefer to engage with my content that way. I like there to be more in every episode. And I do think that there's actually more this time around than there was in season 1. They're giving us more nuggets than they did even in season 1. But I think that we're probably going to see that again, that we're going to have a lot in the last 2 episodes.
Here's my
thing. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Well, I was going to say, we look at... So Disney is kind of new in this streaming space, right? They don't have a lot of shows available for streaming. Like say somebody who's really successful of it, like Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Netflix's biggest shows, when you count Stranger Things and Ozark and everything like that, the reason that you can't stop watching is because every single episode is like a little mini movie, right?
Every episode is meaningful.
Every episode is meaningful. I would much rather them, what do they have this season? 8, 9 episodes?
8.
8 episodes. 8 episodes are roughly 30 to 35 minutes each, because that's all they've been so far, except for episode 1. I'd rather them trim those episodes up to 45 minutes, give every episode some meaning, and trim it down to 6 episodes. I think that's what they need to do. If they don't have enough content to fill 8 episodes and they're giving us little 30-minute tidbits, they just need to make each episode more impactful. Because if you're just waiting until the last 2 episodes to give me something to get excited about, and then I got to wait a year for something else to come out, you're going to lose me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think, and that was the big thing with episode 2. Like, that's why people didn't like it. But it's not that they don't have enough content. They could definitely make every episode interesting. I just don't know why they aren't making it more impactful. Like, I know that they're trying to slowly feed us certain things, like with Ahsoka Tano, but there's a lot more that they could add and do to give it that impact that you're looking for. And I'm just not sure why they're not capitalizing on that. But
yeah,
what I think we're going to see happening, this is my prediction for the series, Max. So I think we're going to see the Mandalorian lose the baby. It's going to get kidnapped. They're going to draw some more blood from it, and he's not going to meet up with Ahsoka Tano till after the baby's kidnapped, and the end of the season is going to be Ahsoka Tano going with him to get the baby back. That's what I think is going to happen.
Well, you think that? Sorry,
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. Baby back.
You think the season finale is going to be them rescuing the baby,
or
the child,
and then failing to do so?
Maybe, but I think that would break a lot of people's hearts if they aren't able to get Baby Yoda back.
I don't think you're gonna get a lot of Rosario Dawson this season, but I definitely think she's probably a major player for future seasons.
Yeah, it could be the very last episode that happens. But that's my prediction. That's what I think is gonna.
It makes sense to me,
because they have to have that. It sounds like they need to have that blood to continue that cloning process to make Snoke happen, like you said. Like that's.
Or maybe they're gonna capture Ahsoka.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to tune out early tonight. I'm sorry, but I hope you guys finish the show strong. So I'll catch you guys next week.
Okay,
have a good one.
Yeah. I agree with you, Tyler. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that the last episode or the last image, we're going to get Rosario Dawson in full Ahsoka Tano garb, and she's like, "I'm here to help you," and then that's the end. Like,
Yeah.
they've teased it so
I
much
hope
this
not.
season.
Man, I hope it's more than just like a little teaser.
Yeah,
I want to see her in action.
Potentially, I mean, you could get her all next season. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe because like the way they're doing the Mandalorian, he's such a solo guy. He doesn't want to team up, you know. So I don't think that she would be a regular. It'd be kind of similar to like Gina Carano, where they just keep meeting up on certain circumstances.
He's opening up though. Like
he is.
He's more willing to work with like working with Gina Carano and Carl Weathers, like those. That came very easy to him. There was no objection really at all to that. And he's even opened up to using droids and stuff. So I think his character is progressing to be more of a team player.
But he's always been like a team player for an episode. And then he goes his own way again.
Right.
And that's fine. I like that. But Ahsoka will show up next episode because Dave Filoni is directing the next one. Dude, that's actually a really good point.
That is a good point.
Oh my gosh. That makes me so excited. He's probably right. Oh my gosh. Next Friday. Woo!
It's potential.
I
mean, that he makes a really good point that could be the case.
That's a very good point. And
if that happens, I'll be way more excited.
And now I'm expecting it. And if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna email my team at work.
He's going to unsubscribe from the Grizzle Geek channel.
No, but I would email my team at work and say, I'm sorry, guys, I'm sick. I can't work today because I would need to mourn.
I'm heartbroken.
No, that would not work. We have so many people off on Friday. I have to work.
Hey, Mike, I don't know if you're doing anything. We're going to talk about these headlines real quick for a couple minutes. I'm going to invite you on the show. Give me a second. You guys keep talking. My internet is not very good right now for some reason.
Yeah, no worries, man.
But
we need to have Mike on to talk about like the finale or something.
Yeah, we're gonna have him on a show soon. But there's a couple of big headlines that happened this week, and oh my gosh,
there's a couple big ones for sure.
I'm gonna put it in the private chat. Max, will you get it over to Mike?
Sure, you having that big of an issue?
Yeah, I can't get anything.
Oh, well, you already sent us the link. I'll get it to Mike.
All right. So let's give him a second to come on. Maybe we'll talk about something that maybe it's just a small bit of news. The Last of Us TV show has been greenlit with HBO.
Yeah, dude, that's exciting.
Yeah,
I went to
I've always thought
hitting so many buttons I didn't want it on there.
I've thought that this show, as far as cinematic video games, is one of the best, if not the best. I mean, The Last of Us, the universe that it's created, and the level of effort that they put into those video games, into the story, is just astronomical. It's primed for to be told to a bigger audience. Mike has joined us. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, I'm sorry to piss you off, man.
He had to rush to put a shirt on. Mike was probably over there just like, oh crap, they want me on? You gotta put a shirt on.
Well, he's grizzled. We wouldn't be able to tell if he has a shirt or not.
You get me just like they get me at work. Underwear and maybe a shirt on.
So my boss does this thing where she'll just, in the middle of a meeting, when it's just us, she'll yell pants, and we all have to stand up.
Oh, that's mean. That's mean. I couldn't handle that.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because a couple people, they'll try to wear some like ridiculous things to get us laughing and stuff. So she's not doing it as a punishment. She just saw it as fun things to do on Zoom. But
nice.
Now you have to wear clothing. You can't be in your own.
Yeah, one time I wore Batman pajama pants.
Nice.
That one got them pretty good. Yeah, so the Last of Us is heading to HBO. I'm assuming it's probably going to be on HBO Max. Would you guys think?
Oh yeah, if it's on HBO,
yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Fan casting for Joel, Hugh Jackman. Thank you.
That would be really cool. That would honestly, I think
that's good.
Amazing.
Wow.
I think Ellie needs to be the girl from Last Man Standing. What's her name?
I can't think of her name. She would be really good though.
Yeah, I mean, is she might be a little old for her in the first one, but
Depends on where
they'll
they
be
want
able
to
to make
take
it
the
work.
story. If they're going to do the first game, or if they're going to kind of do it elsewhere. But well, I guess it would have to be if it's anyway. Yeah, it probably would need to be a younger girl. But that I think the girl from
in the first season, she's what, 14?
In the first game, about 14.
Yeah, 14, I think.
I think that girl could pass as 14.
Yeah, she's been playing a teenager on Last Man Standing for like 9 years.
Yeah. She's like, I think she, in the show she's like supposed to be
Hollywood teenager. That's fine.
Well, I mean, remember Glee? Half the characters half the actors were in their 30s on that.
They could do it.
They can make it work.
Look younger. Yeah, they can do it. Second piece of news: Black Panther is going to begin filming next year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
July 2021, and it said that Letitia Wright is going to play a pivotal role. So I'm assuming she's probably going to take up the mantle.
Yeah, and they're not going to use. They said they're not going to digitally use Chadwick Boseman at all. So there's not going to be that transition bit, right? So
yeah, which is good. I'm glad.
He's basically going to die off screen, is what I'm understanding.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
So that's pretty exciting because that's much sooner than I thought they were going to make this. That means they went through rewrites and everything like that fairly quickly. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing when you go through rewrites that quickly. Then again, nobody else is doing anything else in this COVID thing, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. What else they?
Writers are having their heyday right now, man.
The third piece of news, which was a bit surprising, it dropped yesterday, I believe. Deadpool 3 is a go at Marvel Studios, and Rhett and Winnikick. I don't remember their full names, but they are not coming back to write the next installment of Deadpool. It is actually 2 writers from Bob's Burgers, Emmy-winning writers from.
Why? Yeah. I saw the Deadpool Twitter account post a picture of Bob's Burger with the swords. I was like, "What the heck?" I get it now.
They won an Emmy for Bob's Burger, so they're
and
they're showrunners for like I think was it the North.
Yeah, they had a new show come out. The Great White North.
Yeah, something like that. It's on Fox.
But I thought it was interesting because the writers from the previous 2 did a really good job. Well, more so with 1 than they did with 2. Yeah. But they didn't bring them back.
I liked 2 as well. I thought it was funny.
But not nearly what 1 was.
The Great North.
Yeah, I like the first one better, but the second one was still good. It definitely makes me, even though they're obviously talented writers, like it makes me worried when you have that kind of change. Like it's like, I hope they do well, and you're just like anxiously crossing your fingers.
The thing is, it's totally new. None of the other cast have signed either for anything like
Ryan
that.
Reynolds, right?
It's just Ryan Reynolds. So, and it's supposed to be. They said it's going to be R, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to bring him into the MCU. But I don't know how that's going to work, right? Because Disney's not going to have. I mean, if it's going to be on the Marvel brand with an R rating, I'm not sure what that's... Because they've vowed never to have it.
Real curious to see how that works.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see very little interaction between him and the rest, but I think that there's probably going to be things from that make an impact into the Deadpool movies.
I don't think Deadpool needs the tie-in. Deadpool's just funny. He's fine to be his own thing. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to cameo him, if you want to put him as a cameo in the other movies, I think that's great. But I think it's fine. He can have his own movies. They're hilarious.
See, I'm of the opposite opinion. I'm of the opinion that they keep him out of the MCU and have MCU characters that can cameo in his movie, right? But when you have a regular mainstream movie, they don't have him in it, right?
Yeah.
So they have that disconnect there, right? But yeah, he could still have... make fun of the regular MCU and have regular MCU
Thor
characters
come into his movie.
Yeah, exactly, something like that.
Well, I mean, but if they do bring him in to the rest of the MCU, which it sounds like they're planning on doing, they could have some pretty funny fourth wall moments, making him more.
I think they're gonna bleep him.
Making him more PG-13 in those like Avengers movies and stuff like that. Which could make it pretty funny.
I don't think he's going to change. I think it would be absolutely hysterical if everything's going like a regular Avengers movie or Marvel movie, and you have Deadpool in there trying to curse and he can't. Have you guys seen The Good Place?
Yeah.
That same thing. Like every time she says the F word, it comes out as fork.
Yeah.
You know, like something funny like that. The Good Place ran with that for their entire show, made that a bit.
Make a joke out of it, like Scarlet Witch put a spell on him.
He's like, "Where's that beeping coming from?"
right. or have the first time you see him wearing mouse ears. How hilarious would that be? Right? There's so many things you do with this character, but Max, and the main reason I disagree with not having him come into the Marvel movies is that a Deadpool and Spider-Man movie would be phenomenal. Like it needs to happen.
Yeah.
Because those two, I mean, Deadpool, a lot of his character design came from inspirations from Spider-Man and stuff like that, right, Mike?
Yeah.
You know, like that's why he was created. They need a movie together, and watching Ryan Reynolds and Tom Holland would be fantastic.
That makes my Peter tingle.
Yeah. So they can censor him while he's in a Marvel movie and then keep him R-rated in his own movie, right? And you still have that separation. And he can, like I said, riff and joke about the fact that, you know, he's being beeped. He's being censored in the Marvel movie. And that would work because it's Deadpool, so, you know.
Well, yeah, he's fourth wall breaking, right?
Yeah, it's a great thing about that character. You can do anything you want with him, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of like Play-Doh, right? You just do whatever you want. He's malleable. You can do whatever you want with him, and people are going to
cut him in half and let him grow back with a little dongle.
You can sew his mouth shut. And what's funny is, as much as I hate that movie, guys, right?
Yeah,
I was incredibly proud to get this.
Yeah, you have to. That's
yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about really quick is the CW apparently is coming out with a Wonder Woman show.
Really?
It's Brazilian Wonder Woman.
Brazilian Wonder Woman.
Yep. It's the what's the Brazilian Wonder Woman's name? They have her. She's from the comics.
So it's not Diana.
No. Hang on.
This is exactly why I wanted Mike to come on, because Mike knows things like this.
I forget what her name is. She's
I hadn't heard anything about this. That's crazy.
What is it?
Yeah. So while you're finding that, Mike, what's funny is they, for a while, it seemed like they were moving away from the DC thing with CW, right? Black Lightning was announced it's ending after season 4.
Yara Flor.
Yara Flor is her name?
Yeah, that's the name of the character in the comics, Yara Flor.
Wonder Girl? Is that who she is?
It's Wonder Girl, but yeah, that's the one they're developing for CW.
Okay.
Is Wonder Girl.
So, was Wonder Girl the one that was in Titans?
That's Wonder Girl. That's
it's a different Wonder Girl, but
yeah, that's Diana's. Oh, sorry. That's the Diana's like niece or something like that. She's they're related. She's an Amazonian. I'm not sure if the Wonder Girl who's from Brazil is or not. Or I think she was just trained on their mascara, I think.
Well, which allows me to pivot into our last and biggest thing of the night, which has been heavily reported on. Wonder Woman, the movie, 1984, is moving to HBO Max Christmas Day.
Crazy, man. I could not believe this. It's awesome.
Yeah. Did you hear the quotes from there? That they're talking about, you know, the greater good, and because there's no way this is not a massive loss of money, right?
Yeah, it's got
no matter how you look at it. But they're talking about the greater good and building this up, and they're doing it because HBO Max is falling way behind third tier in the streaming service, right? It's got Netflix way up here, and then Disney is coming to number 2 with this massive year they had, right? So,
and then you got Hulu. I mean, Hulu's a big player.
Which is honestly a little surprising that HBO Max is so behind, because HBO has a ton of content.
There's a big reason for it. Okay, first of all,
family friendly though.
Yeah, first of all, their price point. I think $15 is far too expensive for this. Second of all, they are not available on Roku or Amazon Fire Stick, which is the largest device. They hold the market as far as streaming devices over Xbox, over anything else. Fire Stick and Roku lead the market. Roku specifically, I believe. has some 36 million users or something ridiculous like that.
That is a good point. I've got a Roku TV here in my office, and I never watch HBO Max because it's not on there, and like I'd have to go to my Xbox to watch it or on my PC, and there's just something weird about PC and streaming services. It just doesn't work as well as on your TV.
Yeah, and talk about your price point, Lance. Just double on that. It's $15, right? It's $1 less than the maximum package for Disney Plus, which is Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, for $1 more, you get all three of those.
Yeah.
You know,
well, and Netflix is more expensive, but it's Netflix, and they've built a rapport of years. People are like, oh, I have to have Netflix.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're looked down on if you don't have a Netflix account. And if you don't have one, you're using somebody else's, right?
Yeah.
And Netflix has a track record of just having consistent, good content. You know, Netflix has become must-see, TV, right?
I know, I remember have a bunch of crap, but it's true. You kind of have to have Netflix anymore.
I remember when I was younger, like after The Sopranos came on, everybody would come around and talk about Sopranos and NYPD Blue and all these things. We haven't had, and Lost was a big one, as much as I don't think Tyler likes Lost or something, but Lost was a big one. We haven't had that in some time. And then Netflix came around, it all became Stranger Things and Orange is the New Black and all these other shows that have just become part of television history. HBO
they do so many. They do so many. It's like the shotgun effect. Eventually, one of them is going to be good and stick, right? Even if they have a whole bunch of these others, if they have one really big hit, right, it makes it must watch. And HBO, to be honest, isn't must watch like it used to be, right? Back when it had Game of Thrones and or back like as far as like Sopranos, they always had like something. They have some good stuff on there from here and there, but they don't have the must watch, right?
That's true.
Like if you told me 5 years ago. You told me 5 years ago that HBO streaming service wouldn't be, it would be number 3 and lagging behind. I wouldn't have believed it. But then, fast forward to now, and it just doesn't have the content.
Well, and they just need to add the value there because Disney Plus adds the value with having, decades and decades of content that they put on there. HBO, not so much. I think Disney has far more content than HBO.
Right.
And then you have Prime, which Prime doesn't release a lot of shows often, but you get this whole world opened up on Amazon with free shipping and all that other stuff when you buy Prime, right?
Yeah, Prime is like a no-brainer for me. It's like I do it for the shipping. And then it's like, oh, okay, cool. I've got all the shows.
Right.
And their shows are bangers too, man. They got great stuff.
But they don't release them consistently enough.
Yeah. They stick to quality. They don't have the massive shotgun effect like Netflix has, where they throw out a whole bunch of crap and then one or two of them is really good. All their stuff is usually high quality.
Yeah,
well written.
And it sounds like this one Tyler's watching isn't quite as good, but it's not bad either.
No, it's still enjoyable. It's just not like it's not as funny as I was hoping it would be with the cast that was in it.
It's still Nick Frost. He expected it to be pretty funny.
Yeah,
it's funny, and he's really funny. It's just it's not. I mean, I've grown to expect this from Nick Frost, and I'm getting like this, but I still enjoy it. But that's what I'm saying with HBO Max. There's no perceived value for their price point, so they don't come out with enough content. There is old content, but you can also find some of that content on other services, right? And they have a high price, and they're not available on everything. So really what HBO needs to do is quit saying that Amazon and Roku are the problem and look internally and figure out why they can't get a deal.
Do you guys really think that Wonder Woman's going to, drive the traffic they want it to drive there? I mean, everyone's going to have it for the month of December, right? To get
everyone's going to get a free trial if you don't have it.
Yeah, get the free trial or the 1 month. But is that going to stick? I mean,
and then they'll do the same thing when Justice League comes out, and I know he's going to release it once a week for 4 weeks. But again, you just do a new email account and do a new trial, and you can watch all of that too. So, I mean, Lance and I have an HBO account. We pay for it, but you're right. Like some people aren't going to do it, but then they're probably counting on the fact that a lot of people do free trials and forget. So it'll probably drive some traffic. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to be as successful as they hope it will be.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's going to be nearly as successful as they want it to be. But it's still coming out in theaters too, right?
Yeah, and for me, that's cool because I want to support this kind of stuff. So I'm paying for HBO Max. I'm going to watch it there on Christmas Day because I don't really want to go to the theaters on Christmas. But I'm definitely going to see if you guys want to like hit up a second viewing at AMC or something. You know, like that's something I'll want to do. Like, let's get out there and let's see this thing. I want to support it. Not that WB needs my support; they make plenty of money, but
Yeah.
I want to go see it in theaters. So,
I honestly think my first viewing is going to be in theaters.
you think you'll go on Christmas Day, or maybe go day
No,
after?
I'll just wait a couple days. But I think with me, once I've seen something on my small screen and then I go watch it in theaters, it takes away some of the luster. Right? I love going to see the movie in the theaters for the first time.
We'll have to talk. I have the whole week off after Christmas. Maybe we can go together.
Oh, you lucky bastard. Which I wanted to bring up one point is Disney for a while, you know, they had a little bit of success with Mulan, but not a huge amount of success, right? And now we have Wonder Woman coming to HBO Max. Do you think that this gets Disney to start reevaluating their whole Black Widow to Disney Plus?
Maybe, but most likely no.
Because there is a rumor that they're looking at 6 big tentpole movies, Disney, to put on Disney Plus.
I would love
the
it.
animated stuff. The Marvel movies are not going to go. I mean, they've already spent all the money to fix Falcon and Winter Soldier and redo WandaVision. Because the thing you got to remember with Disney, with Marvel especially, it was meant to come out in this order, right? In this order. So stuff from Black Widow spoils stuff from Falcon and Winter Soldier, which spoils stuff. I mean, it's because it's supposed to come out Black Widow, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Eternals, and then WandaVision. And now WandaVision's coming out first. So they had to go back. So all the reshoots, when you heard about WandaVision being done last year, or, you know, this year, and then you heard it was going to come out, they had to go back and actually do rework on WandaVision because they had to remove some stuff to make it fit, right? So take out those spoilers, right? So because Marvel was all lined up, you know, this, and this, right? And then everything spoils, you know, the next one. So, and the thing is, they're going to be, they talked about, I mean, they're like, well, can we do this? But I don't think, nothing Marvel is going to hit Disney Plus that's supposed to go in theaters. I mean, I think Black Widow's coming out in May, and I think Eternals are going to wait till October, and they already fixed the Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision spoilers from those. So,
this whole thing's a shame. This whole thing's a shame. Well, that brings me to the next of my headlines. Max, did you have any that you wanted to?
No, I didn't think there was going to be anything else after Wonder Woman. That's the big hitter. What else you got? Let's see.
That's it. I saved the best for last.
Oh,
Mike,
okay.
It's thank you so much for coming on at short notice.
Thanks for having me.
You were so active in the chat. I was like, why the hell is he not on our show?
I like to catch your guys' show when I can.
Yeah.
We got to have you on for like an actual Mandalorian review. You want to come on for the finale?
Oh yeah.
I think that'd be really fun, man. We got to have you on, get your expertise in there. We'll talk to you offline.
Obviously, I don't know anything when it comes to this show. So.
Yeah, we'll tell Lance just not to come on that week.
Yeah,
I love that idea.
I was a little kid, but I saw Star Wars in the theaters, so
nice.
I'm like, you know, I've been a fan for life. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I wish I could have.
I come from you know, a family of immigrants, and it just wasn't a thing that we really got into. Like, my memories as far as when I was a kid are in totally different things, you know, like, but none of the sci-fi stuff. I didn't get to liking that stuff until I picked up my first comic book when I was, you know, 10 or something like that. But
yeah, there was a good almost, was it 17 years between that I had nothing but comic books and novels and games and stuff like that to tide me over till we got the, you know, prequels or whatever. So that big gap of Star Wars, lack of Star Wars, right? I mean, people today don't understand it. Like, you know, my kids.
20 years, man. That was a big gap.
Was there time when it wasn't Star Wars?
When it came to Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, that brings us. I'm having internet issues. I don't know if you guys are able to see me, okay? But
nope. Got a creepy face.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on right now. I just closed some windows. I think it might have been another internet window that was making me. But so that brings us to the end of our show. A special thank you to Mike from the Grizzled Geek for coming on and talking about some Faberflubs with us. We had some big headlines. We haven't had many in a while, so we wanted to bring on the extra muscle to help us through that. Max is pretending like he's frozen. The dad jokes have already
Nice.
settled in for Max. So, so with me as always was Max and Tyler, and Sam was on a little bit ago. He had to head out, but check out our Facebook, check out our YouTube page, check out every streaming platform. We're there. Make sure to check out the Grizzle Geek on all the streaming platforms as well, and YouTube. And you guys are on at what time on Fridays?
6. We're on 6 Mountain Standard Time right now. We're the premier Arizona Nerd Show on Friday nights.
Right now, right? Well, we may be having some news soon that we'll be needing to talk about. So
nice. All right.
You guys are normally an hour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to do. There's going to be a lot of cross stuff going on. So
nice.
Yeah, so check us all out, and thank you for coming, and check out The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. And until next time, keep on geeking on.